the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Well, thank you very much. And a very big hello to North Carolina. Thank you very much. It's great to be back in this beautiful state with the proud, hardworking patriots who make our country run. You really do. You built our country. You make our country run. I want to thank a very good man, and he's in there fighting. He's fighting, and we know he's a fighter. The next governor of North Carolina, Mark Robinson. Thanks, Mark. Mrs. Robinson, thank you. They're a great, great couple. Thank you both. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. Well, this is a very frisky group, I have to say. And by the way, we have some very good polls coming out today, I just heard. Despite all of the fake publicity about this radical left person from San Francisco. How's San Francisco doing? Not like North Carolina. No, we have some very good polls coming out, so that's good. You know, considering the fact that what they do, what the fake news is able to do, and yet we're leading, and let them have their convention, and who knows how that's going to turn out. Joe Biden is a very angry man, you know that, right? Because they took it away from him. They usurped it. They took it away from him. Terrible, terrible. And I'm not sure that they picked the right guy in him, but he got 14 million votes. He got 14 million votes. He got no votes. And you look at what happens. That's not the way it's supposed to happen. They are a threat to democracy, right, as they say. They are a threat to democracy. But thanks as well to members of Congress, Chuck Edwards and Virginia Fox, warriors. Thank you, wherever you may be. Good. Thank you. Thanks, Chuck. Thank you, Virginia. State Auditor candidate Dave Bollock. He said, I'm only in politics for you, sir. Where is Dave? Anybody that would save, Dave, if you say that, and do you mean that? If you mean that, I'm for you all the way. He has my endorsement. Thank you, Dave. A man who's doing an incredible job, so good. When we won this state, and we won it easily, I said, Michael Watley, you're going to head the RNC with Laura. And they're doing an incredible job. And also your North Carolina GOP chairman, Jason Simmons. Jason, thank you. We doing okay? We're doing good, Jason? Okay, we're way up here. We got to make sure everyone gets out and votes, but we're way up, so I want to thank you. We've had tremendous experience here. We won every time we were in. A special place. Well, my son, you know, he and his wonderful wife, you know who I'm talking about, Lara. But Eric and Lara, they named their beautiful daughter Carolina. Okay. I said, which one are you talking about? Well, you know, today I'm going to say it's North Carolina, right? No, she was born here, raised here, and I'm sure it's a big reason we've done so well here. She's great. She's really terrific, and he is a great young man. I mean, you know, I'm a little prejudiced perhaps because he's my son, a little bit, but they're a great couple, and thank you very much. We appreciate it. With the help of everyone in this room, 83 days from now, can you imagine 83 days? We're almost there. We got to get it. We're going to defeat super liberal, more liberal than Bernie Sanders. Did you hear that? The most liberal person in the Senate. Can you believe that? We're going to defeat Kamala Harris. We're going to win back the White House in a historic landslide, and we're going to take back our country. We're going to take it back. And I think it's important to say, and I never get corrected. I know it's fact because, you know, if I'm slightly off, they do stories, headlines. He didn't tell quite the truth. Well, we are leading the biggest political movement in the history of our country, bigger than any movement ever before. There's never been a movement like this. Go, make America great again, MAGA. Make America great again. I say to the Democrats when they come out, well, you know, we've got to try and stop MAGA. MAGA is make America great again. What do you want to stop it for? That's what we're doing. They put in a candidate and we beat him badly. How did he do in the debate? Then they put in another candidate. This is like you have two fighters and one guy's losing. They say, come on out, let's put in another one. So then they put in another candidate, and we're doing very well, considering the fact that she has the greatest press. She went from being a totally disrespected person 6 weeks ago. Nobody thought she had a chance. Nobody, and I don't think she can possibly win. If she does, our country is finished. You want to know the truth. But she was totally disrespected. The most unpopular vice president in the history of our country. And then they decided to get politically correct. We have to put her in. They put her in, and now they're putting her on the covers of Time magazine with an artist sketch. They don't use a picture. They don't use a picture. They use an artist sketch. I want to use that artist. I want to find that artist. I like him very much. But we're going to beat her also, and they may then get a third candidate. Who knows? This is a little bit different than we're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to have a candidate. You know, we spent probably $100 million on beating him. Then we had a very good debate, and we beat him. And they said, well, instead of letting it go, who knows what happens, right? It's the world of politics. They say, we want him out. Joe, you're getting out now, Joe. Well, I don't want to get out. I have 14. You're getting out now, Joe. We can do it the nice way, or we can do it the hard way. And he's getting out. He's getting out. In fact, they're not even giving him a good spot to speak. You know, when he's speaking on Monday, Monday's not that's the worst day. But that's what they do, and it's their own form of, it's just another I guess relatively, it's a minor form of cheating by comparison to what they really do, right? Everything Kamala Harris touches turns bad. It all turns bad. San Francisco was a great city. Now it's unlivable. California was a great state. Now it's unlivable. She breaks everything just like she broke the border, broke our economy. But soon we are going to fix every single problem Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have created, and we are going to save our country. We are going to save America. We're going to save America. Now, this is a little bit different day because this isn't around. We're talking about a thing called the economy. They wanted to do a speech on the economy. A lot of people are very devastated by what's happened with inflation and all of the other things. So we're doing this as a intellectual speech. You're all intellectuals today. Today we're doing it, and we're doing it right now, and it's very important. They say it's the most important subject. I think crime is right there. I think the border is right there, personally. We have a lot of important subjects because our country has become a third world nation. We literally are a third world nation. We're a banana republic in so many ways, and we're not going to let that happen because we're starting a free fall. But from today and from the day I take the oath of office, we will rapidly drive prices down and make America affordable again. We're going to make it affordable again. Under Kamala Harris and crooked Joe Biden, the American dream is dead. You don't hear about the American dream anymore. It's dead. Her radical liberal policies have caused horrific inflation, decimated the middle class, and gutted the finances of millions and millions of American families. Real incomes are down by over $2,000 a year per family. I mean, that's a lot of money. They're down by that, and it's actually much more if you figure it a certain way. If you add some other categories in, it's much more than that. But down by 2,000 since she took office, and it was just announced that real earnings were down once again at a record rate. The Harris price hikes have cost the typical household $28,000. Congratulations. Hope everyone's happy. Credit card debt has exploded, and it's exploded to the highest it's ever been, and the cost of a typical monthly mortgage has tripled, and probably more than that if you think about it. We were at about 2.4%, and now you're up to 10% and even 11%, but you're really not there because you can't get the money even if you want to pay it. In July alone, 350,000 people were added to the unemployment rolls. Kamala Harris wants to talk about her fantasies, and they are everything she says. If I say something, she said, that's what she's going to do, too. I say, what are you doing? But she wants to talk for the future about these fantasies, but really what she needs to explain is the present suffering that she's caused along with Joe Biden. And by the way, they're a team. You know, she's trying to throw him overboard. She doesn't want to know who he is anymore. She doesn't want to talk about him anymore. She says, let's not bring this guy in. Let's not bring him in. No, they were a team. He appointed her as border czar, and she did the worst job in the history of borders, I will tell you. Does anyone here feel richer under Kamala Harris than crooked Joe, than you were during the Trump administration? Is anything less expensive under Kamala Harris and crooked Joe? I mean, we had inflation that I don't believe we've ever had inflation like that. You can go back a long way. Are you better off now with Harris and Biden than you were with a person named President Donald J. Trump? Do you know him? He's a nice gentleman. Nice gentleman. With 4 more years of Harris, your finances will never recover. They're never going to recover. Our country will never recover, frankly, more importantly. It will be unrecoverable. Vote Trump and your incomes will soar, your savings will grow, young people will be able to afford a home, and we will bring back the American dream bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Look at this. We have a lot of front row Joes here. Wow. Hello, what a great group of patriots they are. I don't know, they've gone to, I think, 219 or 220. And this isn't rally, but this is a different kind of a thing. Today we're going to talk about one subject, and then we'll start going back to the other, because we sort of love that, don't we? But it's an important, they say it's the most important subject. I'm not sure it is, but they say it's the most important. Inflation is the most important, but that's part of economy. Kamala Harris wants to be in charge of the entire U.S. economy, but neither she nor her running mate is to do the beauty, isn't he? He signed a bill. He wants tampons in boys' bathrooms. I don't think so. Tampons. But they've never held a private sector job in their entire professional careers, and it's no wonder they're both socialists. They're actually beyond socialists. I think they skipped over socialists. That's why I think when people find out, because you don't know who these people are, I think when people find out who they are, I personally don't think they can do well in the election. They've destroyed this country. What they've done, when you look at San Francisco, what happened to, and she was the one that started it years ago. She was district attorney. Then she was the attorney general of the state of California. California is a disaster now. Now, Gavin Newsom hasn't helped very much, but it's a disaster. She was the one. This November, voters are going to give radical liberal Kamala Harris the opportunity to try something new, a real job in the private sector for the first time in her life. It's nice. Kamala has declared that tackling inflation will be a day one priority. Just think of it, for her, but day one for Kamala was 3.5 years ago. Why hasn't she done it? You know, I keep saying, she's one of these complainers, you know, like a critic. I remember growing up, I'd see plays on Broadway, and I'd go to different things, and you'd always have critics, they criticize, but I'd see, and they were critical, but they never did it themselves, you know? She's a critic, that's all she is. She never did anything. Nothing that she ever did worked. When Kamala lays, and she got lucky with this. She was the first one out. She was 22 people, I guess, I hear. I just asked, I said, that many? A lot of people. She never made it to Iowa, the great state of Iowa. She was the first one out. She had a lack of skill, and people didn't like her, and now she's running for president, and she never got one vote. Think about that. When Kamala lays out her fake economic plan this week, probably will be a copy of my plan, because basically that's what she does. Just remember, she goes to work every morning in the West Wing. Her desk is 10 steps from the Oval Office. She cast the tie-breaking votes that gave us record inflation, and for nearly 4 years, Kamala has crackled as the American economy has burned. What happened to her laugh? I haven't heard that laugh in about a week. That's why they keep her off the stage. That's why she's disappeared. That's the laugh of a crazy person, I will tell you, if you haven't known it. It's a crazy. She's crazy. They told her, don't laugh, don't laugh. No, it's her. No, her laugh is career-threatening. They said, don't laugh. She hasn't laughed. She doesn't laugh anymore. It's smart, but someday it's going to come out. That's the laugh of a person with some big problems. She says her plan is going to be and bring down prices. She thinks she's going to bring down prices. Then why? Here's a simple little few words. Why didn't you do it, Kamala? Why didn't you do it? You've been there 3.5 years. Why aren't you doing it now? You can do it right now. I can say that with everything. Why hasn't she secured the border? You know, she was the border czar, right? She was the border czar. It was a big deal. She says now she wasn't the border czar. That's okay. She was in charge of the border. Call it whatever you want. But she was in charge, and it was the worst. This was the worst border in history. There's never been a border in the world like this. Why hasn't she brought back the jobs? Why? She talks about jobs. We're going to come up with a new plan. She's been there for 3.5 years with a man who, frankly, she defrauded the public because she didn't tell you about that man. I exposed him during the debate. Thank you very much. Thank you. And now the bombs are starting to drop in the Middle East. You see what's going on there, right? That would have never happened. Israel would have never happened. Ukraine would have never happened with Russia. You wouldn't have ever had an embarrassment like that Afghanistan disaster, with worst, most embarrassing day in our country's history. Inflation would have never happened. We would have never had it. It was caused by a very stupid energy policy. Then he went back to my policy because prices were going up so much. But it'll end. If they won this election on day one, all of that would end, and this country will go through hell. And it can never come back. Once it goes, it's pretty far down already. I'm going to have to work very hard. It's pretty far down. When you let 20 million people come into our country from places unknown and from prisons and from mental institutions and terrorists, Kamala Harris won't end the economic crisis. She will only make it worse. And why hasn't she done it? She talks about it. She's doing a plan. You know, she's going to announce it this week, maybe. She's waiting for me to announce it so she can copy it. Like, remember a couple of days ago? And we will have no tax on tips. I said that was my plan. Not only didn't she, I mean, they came up with a plan to go after all these people violently. Then one day she just uttered that sound, but she'll copy a lot of other things too. But she'll never do them. She'll never do them. She'll say them for the election, but she'll never do them. She can't solve the problem because she is the problem. She really is. People like her. When I left office, I handed Kamala and crooked Joe Biden a surging economy with no inflation. The 30-year mortgage rate was 2.4%. Gasoline had reached $1.87 a gallon, and for periods of time was even lower than that. The African-American poverty rate was down 7%. The Hispanic American poverty rate was down 8%. The biggest drops, the greatest drops that you've ever seen in this country. They've never had it so well. Nobody has. Every group, men, women, Hispanics, Asians, blacks, everybody was down at a level that nobody's ever seen. We had some of the greatest periods of economic growth and health that any country has ever seen. I think probably more than any country has ever seen. In 4 short years under President Trump, we passed the largest tax cuts in history, the largest regulation cuts in history. We unleashed American energy, and real income surged by more than $4,200 in just a short number of months. I mean, it was nobody, you never had it so good. Now you're not doing so well, I hate it. We had the strongest economy in history. There's never been a country that had an economy like us. I gave Harris and Biden an economic miracle, and they quickly turned it into an economic nightmare with a nation-wrecking agenda ripped straight out of Kamala's San Francisco liberal playbook. What they've done to poor San Francisco. Well, we're gonna try and bring that back too. Harris and Biden waged war on American energy, threw open our borders, flooded the country with low-wage migrant workers, passed the Green New scam, racked up almost $10 trillion in debt, and buried our workers in job-killing regulations, costing $10,000 per family. That's a lot of money. You don't have to imagine what a Harris presidency would look like. You're living through the misery right now, except it will get worse, and you're paying the price, a price like nobody's ever paid, and we're disrespected all over the world as a country. We were respected before Putin respected us. President Xi of China respected us. Kim Jong-un of North Korea respected us. We were respected by everybody in the world. Today we're being laughed at. Today we're being laughed at all over the world. You're paying the price for Kamala's liberal extremism at the gas pump, at the grocery counter, and on your mortgage bill, and on everything else. How about your car insurance? How's that doing? Not too good, right? I saw today it's up like 82%. We're not going to let this incompetent socialist lunatic keep breaking our economy for 4 more years. It'll destroy our country. On Election Day, we're going to tell her that we've had enough, that we can't take it anymore, Kamala. You're doing a horrible job. You were a terrible attorney general. You were a terrible district attorney. You're the worst vice president in history. Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. Go. Get out of here. Right? Get out. Boom. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was not a pleasant day. I'll tell you, front row Joes were there. Front row Joes were there. They've seen it all, haven't you, huh? You've seen it. That was a horrible day. That was a terrible day. She's flip-flopping on every single thing she's ever espoused or believed in, the border, health care, crime. But she truly is a radical. She's flip-flopping on everything to get elected. After she gets elected, it all goes right back to where it was. She refuses to do any interviews or press conferences. Almost 30 days now. She hasn't done an interview. You know why she hasn't done an interview? Because she's not smart. She's not intelligent. And we've gone through enough of that with this guy, Crooked Joe. He didn't do interviews either. They kept him in his basement, and essentially they're keeping her in the basement the same way they kept her. They don't want to expose her to, like, a question like, what did you have for dinner tonight? Remember, Joe? What kind of ice cream is your favorite? Vanilla. Oh, I like vanilla. Oh. That was George Flopadopoulos. He asked him that. What's your favorite ice cream? With me, they asked me a little bit different question. That's all right. Did everybody the other night see Elon and me? Huh? It was great. That was one of the most successful shows ever done. I mean, that was a lot of people like him. I think they like me too, come to think of it. But he's great, and he gave us his full endorsement. He's a great guy. But he basically, he's a guy doesn't need this stuff. What he wants to do is see our country be great again, and he understands. And it's very hard for him to endorse the opposing party. It's not easy. It's very hard. But, he really cares about our country, and he knows the opposing party has really destroyed our country and will destroy our country and permanently destroy our country, and he can't watch that. But we had a great chat for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours being grilled by Elon. And we had a good time, actually. We're talking about something we love, our country. Much easier when you love something, right? She doesn't want anybody to know what she's really for, and that way she can change it, I mean, she'll tell you what she wants and change it the way she wants it, and ultimately it'll be the way she wants it. I mean, the clown that she picked as a vice president, this guy's a clown. He was so bad. When Minneapolis was burning down, he didn't want to call in the National Guard. I got him on the phone. You got to get the National Guard. Get it. I'm telling you, if I didn't force it upon him, you might not have the city. Remember CNN standing up? This is a season of love. This is a very peaceful protest, and the whole city is burning down behind him. You ever see anything? As far as the eye could see, the whole thing looked like World War II. Speaking of World War III, I'll keep you out of World War III. He's going to put you in World War III. We're very close. You're very close to being in a war, a big war, a world war. You're very close. We've never been this close. And we have incompetent people in the White House, grossly incompetent people. There was no reason for Russia and Ukraine to go at it. There was no reason for Israel to be attacked on October 7th. Would have never happened. But a politician will always go back to where they started, and on November 6th, she will be a San Francisco liberal, again, destroying everything in sight. I wonder what she does after this. Our country will never recover, especially when added to the destruction they've already caused over the last almost 4 years. Think of our country. Think of the border. Think of what happened. We had the best border. You know my all-time favorite graph, right? That is my all-time favorite graph, not only because it shows the best border, but for another reason. I tell you what, I'm glad I looked around to look at it. I go, wah, pew. That's my favorite of all time. Even if it was... Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Even if it were bad numbers, negative numbers, I still think it would be my favorite of all time. If Harris wins this election, the result will be a Kamala economic crash, a 1929-style depression. 1929. When I win the election, we will immediately begin a brand new Trump economic boom. It'll be a boom. We're going to turn this country around so fast. Many people say that the only reason the stock market is up is because people think I am going to win. Did you ever hear that? But there was one day, a couple of weeks ago, when they weren't thinking that, and you saw what happened. This will be a 1929-style crash. You know, I have one of the most brilliant men in Wall Street, I think here. I shook hands with him just a little while ago. Scott, where's Scott? Where's Scott? Oh, stand up. This man, will you come up here, please? Just come up here for a moment. He is considered one of the most brilliant men on Wall Street, and he's made certain statements. I'd like him to make them because probably I'd be better off if he made them than me, right? But I do agree with him. But no, he's considered one of the greatest on all of Wall Street, respected by everybody. And I'm not sure he can get through Secret Service. It's gotten very tight. Come on up, Scott. Come on up. Come on up, Scott. Come on up here. Look at him. And he's a nice-looking guy, too. You want to say a couple of words?
Sure.
Come on.
Look, this is the Trump economy. This is the Trump stock market. And I can tell you that it will be Kamala Harris will start with the Kamala crash in the stock market, and then it will be the Kamala crash in the economy. And I don't think that's going to happen. You know, I am convinced that President Trump is ahead in the polls now. He is going to stay ahead in the polls, and that he may beat Kamala Harris by more than he would have beaten President Biden.
Thanks. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Is he central casting? He's central casting. Thank you. No, he's been very strong on that. He said that if they get in, you're going to have a 1929-style crash. He's been very strong on it. But others have said that, too. And we don't want that to happen to our country. That would be devastating for you, for everybody. On my first day back in the Oval Office, I will sign an executive order directing every cabinet secretary and agency head to use every tool and authority at their disposal to defeat inflation and to bring consumer prices rapidly down. We'll do it very rapidly. When you look at the costs of groceries, the cost of bacon, where it went up 4 and 5 times. Bacon. I don't order bacon anymore. It's too expensive. It will be a whole of government effort to raise the standard of living and make American life affordable again. It's going to really be a very important thing, affordable, because it's not affordable. Even if you're doing a little bit better, you've lost all of your money because of inflation. It's been out of control for a long time. And don't forget, now, eventually, it's starting to maybe get under control, but you're already up 50, 60, 70% in so many items. You look at car insurance. I couldn't believe when I looked at those numbers this morning. I was studying numbers, and I looked at the car insurance numbers. It's incredible. And that's just one of many. You can go through many. But the groceries, just to put it in simple terms, people go to the grocery store, and they have less than half a deal. In fact, I had something here. I did have something I would show you. Wait a minute. I don't know if you've seen this. I used it once. Oh, I have it. I do have it. Look at this. Look at this. So this is Tic Tacs, right? I don't know if I like the company. I've never met. I have no idea. They're so lucky. Look at all the television. This is the greatest commercial they ever had. But that's what happened. This is inflation. This is tic-tac. This is tic-tac. This is inflation. This is what's happened. I just happened to have, somebody gave me this one today. I said, I think we'll put it up as an example of inflation. But you know what? Inflation is destroying our country. It's destroying our families. We will target everything from car affordability to housing affordability to insurance costs to supply chain issues. We have the worst supply chain we've ever had in the history of the country. To the price of prescription drugs. I will instruct my cabinet that I expect results within the first 100 days or much sooner than that. I would say the first 7 days is fine. Car insurance is up 70 to 100%, and you can't get it. You can't even get it. Do you agree with that? You can't even get it, they tell me. Insurance is up 50% or higher. The whole industry is out of control. The insurance industry has never been anything we have never been in a situation with insurance like it is right now. You can't get it, no matter what you pay. But prices will come down. You just watch. They'll come down, and they'll come down fast, not only with insurance, with everything. At the center of our effort to bring the cost of living under control will be the all-out push to end the Biden-Harris war on a thing called American energy. American energy. We will drill, baby, drill. We're going to bring energy prices down. Thank you. And just so you know, they stopped it, and it was terrible what they did. That's what caused the whole problem in the country, even with supply chains. I mean, it just caused a problem. And then they said, oh, go back to the Trump plan now. Now they're drilling. But the day after the election, if they win this election, the drilling stops. They're only doing this for purposes of getting elected. They said, let's go back to what Trump was doing. But the prices are still way high. You see $5 a gallon now for gasoline, and much higher than that in some areas. And we will put ANWR back into service. You know, ANWR in Alaska, it could be the largest oil field in the world. It could be larger than Saudi Arabia. It could be larger than what Russia has. And Ronald Reagan tried to get it. Good man. He tried to get it, couldn't get it. Bush tried. Everybody tried to get it. I got it. And it was tough. And I got it at different times because they stop it on environmental. You know, they use the environment to stop everything, right? You know that. And we're all environmentalists. We want to see what's right. We want clean air. We want clean water. But we don't want to destroy our country. But they stopped it, and we got it going. We got it going. We got it going like never before. It was all set to go. And then think of this. The first week in office, they stopped it. They gave it back. They said, no, we're not going to do it. The greatest, not only great for Alaska, which is an incredible place and beautiful state. They wanted it so badly. Economic development for Alaska would have been so good. But worldwide, I mean, we would have been selling oil and gas all over the world, especially with Asia because of where it's located. So Asia, all over the world. And they stopped it. But we'll start it up again very, very soon. We're going to get it very quickly. We'll get it approved again very quickly. And your prices are going to come tumbling down. Your gasoline is going to come tumbling down, and your heating bills and cooling bills are going to be coming down. You have places like in New England. I don't know how they put up with it. You have the highest costs almost anywhere. Your costs for energy, for heat, for air conditioning are through the roof. And you know why? Because they don't want to put a pipeline through a section of New York that desperately wants it to happen, a very poor area. They won't do it. And until fairly recently, you know who used to deliver them the oil? Russia. Russia ships were pulling up to New England. How was that? Under Kamala's extreme high-cost energy policy known as net zero, you know what net zero, they have no idea what it means, by the way. It's net zero. What does that mean? Nobody knows. Ask her what it means. We're going to go to a net zero policy. What does that mean? I have no idea. She's attempting to abolish oil, coal, and natural gas. 84% of U.S. energy supplied. She wants it ended. Do you think that's going to lift your prices a little bit? Think of that. They're going to take away 84%. And the real stuff, that's the stuff that powers the plants. It's not wind that goes around and around. And, darling, let's watch the president's State of the Union speech tonight. I'm sorry, we won't be able to do it. The wind isn't blowing, darling. We have no electricity. We have no electricity, darling. We won't be able to watch tonight. But perhaps sometime during the week it will be blowing and we'll be able to get our television on it. Upon taking office, Harris and Biden shut down the Keystone XL pipeline. They issued orders to close dozens and dozens of existing power plants. And Kamala has vowed that if elected, she will absolutely ban fracking. She said, I'll ban fracking just recently. I'll ban fracking. There will be no fracking. That means that she can't win the state of Pennsylvania because Pennsylvania is all about fracking. That's their biggest industry. And you know what, Pennsylvania, I hope you're watching because that's what she says and that's what she'll do and that's what she'll go back to. She wants to ban fracking and she's wanted it for her entire career. And we're not going to let her destroy our country like that. We're not going to let her. If Harris gets in, energy prices will skyrocket far more than even in Europe. You know, Europe's a basic disaster because they've tended to go a little bit woke, but that's now changing. Have you been watching? That's changing. Inflation will surge into double digits in our own country, and your quality of life will absolutely collapse. Your quality of life is going to collapse under these lunatics. By contrast, she said it already has. Who said that, ma'am? Wow. You look healthy, though. You look very nice. You look very nice. By contrast, I'm announcing today that under my leadership, the United States will commit to the ambitious goal of slashing energy and electricity prices by half, at least half. We intend to slash prices by half within 12 months, at a maximum 18 months. And if it doesn't work out, you'll say, oh, well, I voted for him. I still got him down a lot. But we're looking to do it. We're looking to cut him in half, and we think we'll be able to do better. And every single thing that I promised, I produced. Every single thing. You will never have had energy so low as you will under a certain gentleman known as Donald J. Trump. Have you heard of him? So we think your energy bills will be down by 50 to 70%. How good would that be for a thing called inflation? How good would that be? You know, energy is such a big topic, such a big cost, so powerful, so big, that if you have a donut shop, you have the ovens, you have a truck that delivers the donuts, if you have whatever you do, your heating, your cooling, everything is about that. That's where they really blew it. They blew it with too much borrowing. They blew it with wasting $9 and $10 trillion on the scam, the great scam in history. There are a lot of scams that they worked on. Where's the laptop from hell? Is it around by any chance? But they did it by doing a lot of things. But with the energy, it's such a big topic. No matter what business you're in, you have to heat your business, cool your business. You need cars, trucks to get there and to take the product. It's so energy dominated. My administration will issue rapid approvals for new energy infrastructure, unlock new lands for drilling, and achieve energy independence and energy dominance. So we want energy dominance almost immediately. We were energy independent 4 years ago. Think of it. Today, we're getting energy from Venezuela in the form of tar. We're getting it from Venezuela, tar. You ever see what it is to make oil out of tar? They have tar. They have a lot of tar. It's not good. You know where they make it? In Houston, Texas. It's the only plant in the world that can take this material and turn it into gasoline and oil. But no, it's tar. And they're doing very well. You know, speaking of that just for a second, so Venezuela crime is down 72% because they're taking all of their criminals out of Caracas, out of the different places. Their mental institutions are literally closing up. They're taking the people from mental institutions, people from prisons and jails, terrorists. They have terrorists all over the place. And you know where they're bringing them? Welcome to the United States of America. Murderers, drug dealers. And Venezuelan crime is down 72%, but that's only one. All over the world, crime is down because they're taking their criminals and their people from mental institutions and they're putting them into our country because we have stupid people like Kamala and Joe running our country, and there's never been anything like this. And if you look at New York today and you look at a couple of, remember I said migrant crime will be a big subject. I said that a year ago. Everyone said, oh, no, oh, he's so wrong. Do you see what's happening with migrant crime? They make our criminals look like nice people. They do. These are the toughest. These are the toughest people in the world, the toughest people. We built 571 miles of wall, as an example. They could have, and it's more than I said I was going to build, but then I was going to add 200 miles. We had it built, and they didn't put it up. Would have taken 3 weeks to erect. It was all there, ready to put up. Would have taken 3 weeks to put up. And that's when I said they actually want open borders. And Kamala wants open borders. And she said it for 15 years. She wants open borders. She only changed recently when she noticed in a poll that wasn't polling too well. People don't want open borders where people can flow into our country. To further combat inflation, I will terminate Kamala Harris's Green New Scam and rescind all of the unspent funds. Give all of the unspent funds back to building roads, bridges, and give it back to the government. And we won't, it's like throwing, what she did, what they did was like throwing billions of dollars out the window. We will stop wasteful spending and big government special interest giveaways and finally stand up for the American taxpayer, which hasn't happened since I was president. We stood up. We stood up. We stood up. I mean, prior to COVID coming in history, there's never been an economy like we had. Then when COVID came in, you know, we rebuilt the military. We defeated ISIS. Everybody said it would take 10 years to defeat. I did it in 8 months. We rebuilt that whole, we did so many things, and we created the greatest economy. I got a lot of credit on everything, including the economy. When COVID came in, we had to do certain things. We had to make certain moves. And if we didn't make those moves, Scott, and if we didn't help businesses survive for that little period of time, you would have had that 1929-style depression. That's what you would have had. We did a great job. But then when we handed it to them, the stock market was higher than it was previous to COVID coming in. Think of that. It was actually higher. And we handed them something that was a jewel. By the way, more people died from COVID in the Biden administration than the Trump administration, and he got it when it was ending all over the world. It was pretty much ending. So we never really got the credit we deserved for that with the ventilators and all of the different things that we did, the outfits, a lot of things. We were producing in New Hampshire and different places, masks. We had mask factories opening up. We had everything, and we did a good job. And then it came back, and it should have come roaring back, but they really blew it. They spent so much money. They didn't have to spend any more money. What they had to do is let our economy take over. But we had some great Republican governors that did a fantastic job. The Democrat governors, not so much. Out of the top 25, as an example, crime-ridden cities, virtually every single one of them is run by Democrats. Think of that. To make both new and used cars more affordable, I will end the Biden-Harris electric vehicle mandate on day one. Doesn't make sense. And by the way, there's a great place for electric cars. They're going to do great. I think they're going to do great. And Elon's heard me say that many times. He still endorsed me. I mean, I wouldn't be able to change. It's a question of how far do they go and how much do they cost and all of the different things, factors. But electric cars have a great place in our country, but you have to be able to really get gasoline-powered cars, hybrids, many different types, diesel. You want diesel with trucks. You know, they want to make trucks all electric. Going to California, you have 6 stops. With diesel, you have no stops. That's hard to beat, right? If they're too heavy, common sense, we're the party of common sense. An electric truck weighs more than twice, 2.5 times what a gasoline-propelled truck weighs, right? That would mean you would have to rebuild every bridge and tunnel in the United States. Oh, that sounds reasonable. It would cost so much money. The United States doesn't have, every country together doesn't have what it would cost. But there's a great place for electric, but there's a place for everything, and you should be able to go out and buy what you want. You go out and buy what you want. To further reduce consumer prices, I will immediately eliminate every single costly job-killing regulation the Biden-Harris administration has created, and they've created a lot. Remember, I took out 12 for every one I created, and we ended up doing more than that. We got rid of so many regulations that were so unnecessary. Some of them were 100 years old. In my first term, our regulation cuts saved the typical American family $11,000. In my next term, the Trump dividend will be even larger. It'll be a dividend. By repealing the Biden-Harris regulatory onslaught, we can save an estimated $20,000, and you're talking about a tremendous amount, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year just in savings. So to get to economic relief to workers and families, we will make additional tax cuts. That's what gave us the great economy. We'll make tax cuts additionally, we'll make them permanent because, you know, we have a thing where they want to terminate at the end of the period when they expire. The Trump tax cuts, 5 years, they want to let them expire. That would mean your taxes would go up 4 times. You'll be paying 4 times much. And we will do something else which was copied, I mean, viciously, ruthlessly copied. No tax on tips, okay? No tax on tips. You know, if they wanted to do that, why didn't they do it 3.5 years ago? They didn't want to. It was actually the opposite. They hired 88,000 IRS agents to go after these people. So for every position the fake new Kamala takes down, and all of these positions, 3 weeks ago, the real Kamala said the exact opposite, the exact opposite. With me, you will always have a president who tells it like it is. You will always have somebody where I let you know where I stand, and you can vote for me or not, but you need that, and you need consistency, and you need brilliance. You need brilliance. She is not a brilliant person. She is not a smart person. She is not very smart. But it is crazy, isn't it, though? Isn't it crazy? She was so disrespected just a few weeks ago, and now it's like, Kamala, Kamala. The fake news. The fake news is a threat to our country. Don't kid yourself. To help seniors on fixed incomes who are suffering the ravages of inflation, there will be no tax on Social Security. We're going to stop it. No tax on Social Security. This cruel double taxation of Social Security benefits, and this has been talked about for a long time. She'll probably announce this on Friday, too. Oh, look, they have a spy in the audience right over there. He's spying. Let's see, Kamala, I think we should do no tax on Social Security. But it only came into existence in 1984, and at that time, it only affected a very small number of recipients. But now, nearly half of all seniors are forced to pay income tax on Social Security, and thanks to inflation under Harris, she is horrible. This tax hits more seniors every year, more and more, and they can't make it. They're not making it. They're failing. You know, the people that did it right, they saved, they worked, they saved and saved. Those are the people that were hurt most by this kind of thinking and this economy. With your vote, I will end this injustice, and I will always protect Social Security and Medicare for our great seniors, just as I did for 4 incredible years. There was never any talk about doing anything. By contrast, Kamala Harris has a 3-step plan to destroy Medicare and to destroy Social Security. First, she has thrown open our borders. You know what that's going to do. They're all signing up. Oh, congratulations. They'll be all signing up right next to you. But she's opened up our borders. Think of it. Again, I believe it's 20 million people, but I think it's probably much more with the gotaways. And you know what a gotaway is, right? Remember, I had remain in Mexico policy. You think that was easy to get from Mexico? What I had to do to them. And I had remain in Mexico. They ended it immediately. They thought it was unfair to Mexico. Can you believe that? Mexico's it's like a railroad track coming into our country. They thought it was unfair. It's not unfair. But Mexico agreed to it, remain in Mexico, and they ended it very early. They ended it almost immediately. Second, she's flooding our country with millions and millions of low-wage migrants and giving them welfare, free health care, food stamps, public benefits. And third, she's giving them what our military vets don't get. They're sleeping on a street in freezing or very hot weather. And illegal immigrants that came in so illegally and don't speak a word of English are living in some of the most luxurious hotels in the world. It's incredible. You see that. You've been seeing the stories. They're living in hotels. They're taking, right, front row Joes. They're taking some of the best hotels because the government pays more than they can get from wealthy customers. So they say, well, I don't know about this. I think we'll take the illegal immigrant. We're going to get more money from the U.S. government than some rich guy coming in from Argentina. And third, she wants to make them all citizens, dumping them into Medicare and Social Security until those programs buckle and collapse. And that's what's going to happen. Under them, Social Security, Medicare, and other programs will collapse. No country can sustain what's happening right now. The millions of illegal aliens pouring into our country under a border, Czar Harris, are coming from all sorts of places, from countries unknown, literally from countries unknown. And they, as I said, they're coming in from prisons and from mental institutions, and they're coming in as terrorists. We have more terrorists living in our country right now, and nothing good is going to happen from this. And now it's getting more and more violent. Just pick up the newspapers, turn on your television. People stabbed. A woman yesterday raped in New York, raped viciously. And when they said she was raped, you know what she said? They weren't trying to rape me. They were trying to kill me. They were trying to kill her. And he was a gentleman from a certain country I won't mention, happened to be in South America. But it's not South America. It's all over the world that they're coming in. It's not South America. They're coming from all over the world. Just this week in Coney Island, Kamala had two, think of this one, migrants. They came in, we call them the Kamala migrants, and they were arrested for rape of a 46-year-old woman, and it was a rough situation. There were 4 or 5 other situations over the last couple of days. Rape and murder, rape and beating, rape and something else, and sometimes just immediate killing. These people are brutal. These are people that came out of the toughest jails anywhere in the world, from all over the world. And we can't take them. No country can sustain it. No country. They all said I was wrong when I said that migrant crime will reach epidemic proportions. And now it's much worse than that. It's a lot worse than epidemic proportions. It's beyond control. We have a new category of crime. It's called migrant crime. And I think it's going to end up being the worst category of all. These people are tough. They're tough. They're mean. They're angry. And they shouldn't be in our country. And it's not going to work out well. The migrants that Harris let in are raping our women and hurting our children, and now Kamala wants to let them pillage Social Security and Medicare. That's what's going to happen. It will never happen. It will never even get close to happening if I'm in office, and I think you're going to have to put me in office, because there's never been anything like this. If Kamala wins, you will have mass amnesty and citizenship for all of the Biden-Harris illegals that poured into our country. If I win, you will have the largest deportation operation in American history, starting at noon on Inauguration Day 2025. And, you know, I don't say that happily because it's not an easy situation with so many people. It's not sustainable. But Dwight Eisenhower, General Eisenhower, President Eisenhower, he was very strong on borders. He felt that you cannot do this. The largest deportation operation we ever had was under Dwight Eisenhower, president, and he understood that it was not sustainable to have millions of people coming in. But what he went through is peanuts compared to what we're going through. Nobody's ever gone, no country, no border has ever gone through what we're going through, and they're destroying our country. The Kamala migrant invasion is also a major factor in crushing your wages and driving up the cost of health care and the cost of all of your goods. Millions of uninsured illegal aliens are getting billions and billions of dollars in free health care paid for by American citizens on your medical bills. It's right on your medical bills. You know, when you hear this, you get angry because it shouldn't happen. But what happens to them, they come up in caravans. I think I came up with that name. But they have caravans of thousands and thousands of people, many, many criminals in those caravans. Very dangerous, unbelievably dangerous for women. The women in those caravans are just absolutely, it's horrible what happens. I'm not going to tell you now. It's horrible. It's horrible what happens in those caravans coming up. It's a rough journey. But they come up because we have very stupid people here that say, if you come up, we will give you health care, Social Security, medical, school. You know, our schools in a lot of places are not, you can't even go anymore. They've taken the place of our students. They have people sitting in chairs that don't speak a word of English, and they're taking the place of our young children. The hospitals, a person told me the other day from San Diego, they said they can't get into a hospital anymore. The hospitals are being occupied by the illegal aliens. Somebody's got to take care. They're being occupied. And the reason they're coming is because people like Gavin Newsom and people like Kamala are saying, come, come, it's the American dream, come. They're destroying our country. We can't do it. We can't let it continue. You're not going to have a country anymore. People like Scott, brilliant Wall Street people, they're right about what they say. And that's also common sense. I'll tell you, it's all about common sense. The Republican Party is the party of common sense. Kamala Harris wants to eliminate private health insurance. Does anybody have private health insurance here? A lot of people, yeah. A lot of people, they want it. That's what they want. They want to have the... Now, if you want to have other, you have other. But they want to take it and they want to turn it off. It doesn't cost our country anything. They want to turn it off. This is what people, they work hard. They make enough money. They want to have a private plan. It's a more luxurious plan. That's okay. But they want to give free taxpayer-funded health care to every single illegal alien in this country. Kamala wants to do that. Now, she'll probably... Here's a little bet we'll make. She'll probably change over the next short period of time. You know, we said, what do you do with some monsters that we have? Monsters, some of the worst killers in the world, in detention centers. You know, they're in detention centers that we have along the border. And you know what she said? They have to be released. Released. We're going to release. These are murderers. These are killers. These are drug dealers. These are the worst people on earth. You don't get much worse. She said, now she'll probably change her mind on that too, but she wants to release. This is, remember, I said it before, more liberal than crazy Bernie Sanders. He's crazy, you know, and far more liberal than crazy Bernie. This is considered worse. And we're not going to have a president like that. Somebody was saying last night on television that when the people find out, the wonderful Sean Hannity actually said it. Have you ever heard of him? Yes. But he said it, but everyone's saying it. When people find out about her, that she's a very liberal person, you know, they use the word progressive. They use the word, they don't use liberal anymore, they use progressive because it sounds so nice, progressive. What is progressive? That means forward thinking. It's not, it's the opposite. But she's the most liberal senator that we've had in 50, 60 years, I think probably ever, but far more liberal than crazy Bernie. By contrast, I'm going to keep the Affordable Care Act unless we can do something much better. We'll keep it. It stinks. It's not good. If we can do something better, We're going to do something with it if we can do better, meaning less expensive and better health care for you. Less expensive and better health care for you, then we'll do it. We're not looking better for the government. We're looking better for you. She goes around saying, well, he's going to get rid of the health. No, I'm going to keep it unless we can come up with something that's better for you and less expensive for you. Otherwise, we're not doing it. And you saw that having to do with Social Security. For 4 years I was there, and for 4 years I never raised the age. They're going to end up raising your age by 5 years. I never raised your age. I never did anything. I left your plan the way it was. Never touched it. I was there 4 years. Same thing with Russia. They say, oh, he's going to go and, start a war or something. Well, you know what? For 4 years, Russia never went in to Ukraine. They waited till I got out, and then the army started to form. But, if you go back with Russia, Bush let them have a lot of land. You know that. Obama, President Barack Hussein Obama, have you heard of him? Barack Hussein Obama let them have a lot of land. Now you have Biden. He's letting them have the whole thing, okay? The whole thing. But you had President Trump. What did Putin take under Trump? Nothing. Nothing. Took nothing. He took nothing under Trump, but he took under Bush. He took under Obama. Big, big stuff. He took it in Ukraine, in and around Ukraine, but he took nothing under Trump. But now he's going for the big one, isn't he? Huh? We're going to deliver lower prices, lower drug costs, new options that will dramatically reduce the crushing burden of American patients. Kamala and Joe tried to take credit for $35 insulin. You know that. You know who did that? I did that. I did that. I did the insulin, and it kicked in. And I remember when I did it, it had to be a statute. It was a certain statute that took a certain period of time. I said, I hope I'm elected because somebody's going to get a lot of credit for doing what I got done. I got it done, $35 insulin, and now they take credit for it. It's terrible, terrible. They take credit for a lot of things they shouldn't be taking credit for. If they said, congratulations, you did a good job on insulin, that would be nice. Nobody's going to go crazy about that. Congratulations, because insulin was impossible for people to afford. They were dying. They didn't get it. The expense was, I got it for $35. Nobody thinks it's even possible. But they could say you did a great job, thank you very much. Or you did a good job. But instead, they say, we brought insulin in at $35. It's a lie. Kamala is fighting for health care for illegal aliens and fighting for health care and think of this, he's fighting for health care for people that are destroying our country. I'm fighting for health care for the American people, the people that are supposed to have the health care. The colossal influx of migrants into our cities is driving rent absolutely through the roof. That's why, and who's paying the rent? The government. Our government is paying rent. We're paying numbers that were not obtainable. In fact, if I ever went back into business, I'd buy some buildings in certain areas and I'll charge the government the highest rents you've ever seen. That's what they're doing. Some very smart landlords are getting a lot of money. That's why some of the luxury hotels are going into migrants. They can make much more money renting to a migrant than to wealthy people. But that's why, as president, I will seal the border. I will send them all back to their countries where they belong. Prices will come down and come down dramatically and come down fast. To further address the housing affordability crisis, we will work with states like Nevada, a great state. We're leading big in the poll there, by the way. Thank you very much. Good governor. To open up large tracts of federal land for housing constructions and similar to opportunity zones that I did with Senator Tim Scott, a great guy from South Carolina, senator from South Carolina. Came in, he said, I have this idea. He's had it for a long time, but he could never get a president to execute it. I did. And opportunity zones, one of the greatest things that we've done in terms of economic development. I give Tim Scott a lot of credit for that, too. These areas will have low taxes, low regulation to stimulate rapid economic growth, maximum affordability, and the return of a thing called, which I always come back to, the American dream, because we've lost the American dream. We will bring back our supply chains. You know, supply chains were basically not even talked. It was automatic. You have a thing, it's delivered from here to here. When this lunatic became president, with her, remember, she was there at every step of the way, but she was like silent because she was, I don't know, nobody respected her until she was the only choice left. They couldn't get anybody else. Did you see where they had the 12 most likely people to be chosen after Biden? And she was ranked number last, and she was the one that was picking. She was ranked below Tim. He was second, I think, second to last. We will bring back our supply chain. We're going to bring back our supply chains. We're going to bring them back from China and other foreign countries, ending costly supply chains. Those are supply chain disruptions. We're going to bring them back. We're going to bring them back fast as we reduce burdens on domestic manufacturers. American workers will make our critical goods better and cheaper. We're going to make them in our country, right here in the USA, right here in a place called North Carolina. Have you heard of it? Have you heard of it? We're going to have 10 to 20% tariffs on foreign countries that have been ripping us off for years. We're going to charge them 10 to 20% to come in and take advantage of our country, because that's what they've been doing for nothing, to take our jobs. We're going to charge them and bring back millions and millions of jobs by doing so, and billions of dollars. I did that with China. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars with China. Nobody ever took in 10 cents from China, and it slowed them down, and it made us much better. In fact, Biden's been unable to take those tariffs off China because it's so much money coming in, they don't know what to do. How do you replace it? Our current, he's on the take. Yeah, you're right. Do you come from North Carolina, sir? Where is the guy that said that? He's on the take. It's pretty good. I would say he could be right. He is right. Our current massive deficits will be reduced to practically nothing. Our country will be powered by growth. Our country will be powered by growth. We'll pay off our debt. We'll have all this income coming in. If people want to take advantage of our country, they have to pay to take advantage of our country. I will also restore peace through strength, and with the return of global stability will come the return of economic stability. We're going to have economic stability. You know, we have wars breaking out all over the world, and they asked the head of the Prime Minister of Hungary, very tough man, strong man, very, you know, somebody that I always got along. I get along with the strong ones. I don't get along with the weak ones. Isn't that sad? That's a personality defect. Not the tough ones, but the tough ones are the ones we have to worry about, right? It's a good thing. But Viktor Orban of Hungary. So they asked him, what do we do? Wars are breaking out all over the world. He said, the answer is very simple. Make sure that Trump gets reelected president, and you're not going to have any more wars. You're not going to have any more problems. They respected him. They respected Trump. They respected Trump. He actually used a different word. I would not use that word, but he can. He said they were afraid of Trump because they had no idea where the hell I was coming from. With Joe, it's sort of easy to tell, isn't it? Yeah. The whole thing is crazy. You know what we're going through? It's crazy. They arrest their political opponent. They go after their political... The whole place is... Our country is like a different place. No more wars, no more disruptions. We will have prosperity and we will have peace. And this is how we will end the era of inflation, mayhem, and misery under Kamala and Crooked Joe, and unleash economic abundance for Americans of every race, religion, color, and creed. Together, we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, low inflation, so that everyone can afford groceries, a car, and a home. Common sense. We will stop the invasion, end the migrant crime, support our great police, save Medicare, and save Social Security, which is under siege. We will strengthen our military, build a missile defense shield, Keep critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools, and keep men out of women's sports. We will defend the Second Amendment, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity, hope, and joy. But for that to happen, we must never let Kamala Harris get anywhere near the White House, and we must defeat her country-destroying liberal agenda. She destroyed San Francisco. She's not going to destroy our country. So get your friends, get your family, register, volunteer, and get the hell out and vote. You got to vote. On November 5th, we will save our economy. We will rescue our middle class. We will put America first, and we will make America great again. Thank you very much. North Carolina, God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
To feel down, I said, young man, pick yourself off the ground. I said, young man, 'cause you're in a new town. There's no need to be unhappy, young man. There's a place you can go. I said, young man, when you're short on your dough.